Well. I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Why,
Critical think.
You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Fight's not with you, Blind Truth.
I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish. Play for blood, remember?
I was just fooling about.
I wasn't. And this time, it's legal.
All right, Finley.
Started a game we never got.
I was just fooling about.
Say when.
Come on. Come on!
Oh, critical.
Come on!
You're no Daisy.
You know Daisy at all.
Poor soul. He was just too high-strung.
So, good. All right. Let's just pretend like we're starting the show. Welcome back to another exciting adventure of The Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley. With me today is sunny disposition himself, Mark Doxey. How are ya?
I'm very good, mate.
All right.
Thanks. Nice to join you.
Oh, glad to have you. Glad to have you. And so what we're doing right now is just having an interaction and response to Critical Think, his video that he just put out February 28. And so basically he is here at the Guyanda Lions Club of Redcliffe Central Coast. I'm butchering them. That's horrible. Yeah. Arboretum. So this is a park right here, and I have got this pulled up on Google Earth. Let me a second to go over here. There it is. All right, get rid of this Hangouts because we're not in Hangouts. Here is Google Earth, okay? And this is where he is at, is the top button right here. And he is shooting across over here to the port of Brisbane, also labeled here Fisherman Island. This is 7.3 nautical miles, or I think it was like somewhere around 12 kilometers. 13.5 kilometers, okay? And I wish that I could do a second button here and come out this way. I don't know if we can do that. Can I do a second button? No, see, it takes it away. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to start here. Alright, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to add 6 kilometers to this because... No. Another 12 kilometers because he's 6 point something nautical miles. And that's... Okay, so this is almost going to be a pretty good triangle here. 13.8. So if I'm going to double this, I'm going to go to like 25, right? 25. I'm going to stop right just in check. Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, he's not concerned with refraction on the surface of the water, so I'm not going to be concerned about getting my. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Accuracy on the distances, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so, okay. So we have 13 kilometers to the island, and then another 13 kilometers when he is out here somewhere with the ships that he's going to come across. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And again, I haven't predisposed you to anything else other than the name of his channel and whatnot. So we'll watch this together. Feel free to tell me to stop whenever you want to stop, and maybe I'll do the same, because I've already taken some screenshots, and I think that it would be helpful to talk through what I have said. Not that what I say is gold and the standard, but just the way that I've been trying to think through this stuff as well. So yeah, so I'm just going to push play, and here we go.
And that was for my high point, and my low points is one down.
All right, this is where the fun begins. Okay, so I now see that my screen is doubling on I see my screen is doubling. Give me a second. I'm going to try to fix my screen so that it's not just right there. Give me 1 second. Fun times, fun times. Okay, I got to do this. This is awesome. Not okay. How do I got to close down everything right now because I don't want anything showing. Okay, I have to get rid of this. I'm just going to put that out of the way. I'm going to put this out of the way. Yeah, this is fun. Give me a chance to go right here. Give me a chance to go right here. This is what happens. Get Papa Smurf out of the way. Give me 1 second. Alright. Bye-bye, Papa Smurf. And bye-bye that. Okay. Alright, we should be okay. Thanks for your patience, everybody. On with the show.
Down there above the rocks, and one just down on the rocks down there. Now I choose this spot because it's got a good view of the ships over in the port of Brisbane there, and there's a shipping channel across.
Okay, so he's giving us the two tangents for where here's the port of Brisbane out here, you can see with your naked eye, and then you've got the commercial channel where they go out. So he's giving you the 2 points. So you're looking here and here. So then that makes okay.
There, and you'll often see ships out there about 12 kilometers away. I've taken some observations from 3 different heights, all on the same day at around about the same time. I've not come back on a different day and waited for the conditions to suit. I know some flat earthers take a picture on one day and then take a picture on another day, and they try to compare the two like Ranty does with his clear day and not so clear day. You can't compare those exactly because the refractive conditions are different on the days. The refractive conditions are different on each day, so you can't really compare what you see, because what you see depends on the refraction.
Okay. Now, we could just stop right here because he just proved flat Earth. Okay?
Well, he's dismissed any conclusion that you can draw because of refraction.
Exactly, but so what he's allowing to run his perspective is the fact that he knows that it's curvature that is going to cause the effect. It's not going to be refraction that causes the effect. It's going to be curvature. Now, again, the simplicity of what he just said, what you see depends on refraction. I'm going to play it again. Hold on. Here we go.
The refractive conditions are different on each day, so you can't really compare what you see, because what you see depends on the refraction.
Okay? What you see depends on refraction, which is exactly what I've been doing in my past handfuls of videos. I've been hammering that home. Now, my challenge to critical think is you have to go out, precisely because of what you just said, you have to go out again and again and again, because when he shows us this cargo ship with the containers on it, if he went out 3 hours earlier or 3 hours later or whatever, because he's going to talk about the independent variable, which is his height. So he's wiggling his height. He's up high 15 meters right here, I would think. He's 15 meters high here. Then he goes down to the shoreline. Now, again, the point is that 2 days earlier or 2 days later, if he does the same observation and that ship is still there, he's going to see that ship differently.
Yeah, and then is he going to cherry pick which one he wants to support his position? Right,
which in his...
I think we can all accuse each other of doing that, can't we?
Well, I don't know that I am. I'm showing everything, and I'm saying, look, we have to, but I don't think that we can. I don't think that we can look at 100 of my photos and then come away with a measurement that we would call a standard refraction.
I think he's just given himself a get-out clause of what he said there.
I'm out there, and I'm going to start this clip zoomed in on a ship. Here, this is pretty choppy. The wind's blowing, it's chopped up, but you can see the chop is very small. There's no 6-foot waves or anything like that here. And you can see that as you look. This is an observation. You can see the waves moving, and you'll also notice that if you've ever been to a beach, you'll notice that the waves are higher at the beach because the water gets shallower and the water...
Can you stop it there?
Yep.
Is this, on the far left, is there some miraging going on there where there's land hovering above the sky?
Well, I can see something right here.
A bit further out, though, can you not see there's it looks like there's sky under land? Or is that cloud?
It's very, very faint, right? I do see what you're saying. If I look off a little bit, if I don't look at it directly, I actually can see what you're saying right there. Sure. So what I'll do is I'm going to pull up Google Earth, because what we're possibly looking at is this stuff here.
Yeah. Or mud. You may have seen Mud Island. That you first pointed it to me.
Yeah.
Mud Island.
Yeah. Either way, you know. Yeah. But yeah. So, but see, that's why the raw data would have been helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you can't just isolate this, because this is farther away, and this is farther away more than likely, because you're moving along the distance there. But yeah, I can clearly see. So you know what? It's possible that could be Mud Island right there. Is that what that was called?
Yeah.
Okay, so look. Let's just say this.
That's pretty safe to say that's Mud Island.
Yeah, let's just say this right here, that this is Mud Island, and then if you go to the left, and if this is, and this is why you would want to go out on the next day or the day after, because you might see more of this land to your left.
Well, okay, we might commission him to do that. Well,
you know, but anyway, so sure. Yeah. So if this is land here to the left,
go back. So we're looking at sort of the Morton Island National Park. Could it be that?
I'm just sure.
And what distance is that? Would that be like 50 kilometers, 60?
Hold on. 30.
Yeah, okay, 30, 29. Okay, all right.
So
Let's get to his punchline then. I can see where he's going.
Higher on the waves. That's just a natural phenomenon that most people are familiar with. So when flat earthers say that the swell gets bigger out there, it's not so true. If you're on a surf beach, and this is not a surf beach, this is in a bay, it's protected. The waves are bigger at the beach. And while you can get a swell in the ocean, this is a bay, it's not an ocean. But anyway.
yeah, and it's not. But anyway, okay, he just created a straw man because no one is saying that about his footage right now. He's creating a scenario that he can absolutely just tear down. He said,
Yeah.
He said flat earthers will say that these objects are getting blocked by high waves. Well, there are no high waves here. Well, then you just wasted 2 minutes of our time.
Yeah.
Because no one's made that accusation here. It's poor right there. He's got a poor argument. That was completely a waste of our time.
We'll go on.
Yes, please go on.
So here's what the ship looks like.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here because I took some stills. Let me find the okay, this is the very first image that we had. I'm going to open it in Paint because I can draw. So, can you see this okay?
Yeah, is it moored or is it moving?
I believe it's moored. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the one thing that I'm going to say right now is, again, we absolutely have to take refraction into account. Okay. And what I find interesting is that we have the color of the hull right here, but then it disappears right here.
It does, and that yellow container just where you are there, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can see that starting to mirage.
Okay. Right. Well, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a line real quick, because again, this is absolutely part of the discussion.
You've got a mirror line there? Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to move this down to where I believe the mirror line is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's right here.
Yeah.
I know, but see, this isn't even level because.
That's his camera skills. Why it's not level.
Yeah. Well, I am not gonna critique his camera skills. I'm just noticing right now because I was trying to draw a horizontal line, but I'm gonna right about there.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is just something to take note of, but my argument is that, well, I'm not going to say anything. My argument is that space between the horizon where the water ends and the degree of angle that is represented on the ship that you can see is very significant. That this is so abstract to try to describe. It is that this inferior mirage that is happening right here is the reason why you cannot see the bottom of this ship. And so what I've said in the past couple of days is that this horizon is created by this inferior mirage. And
well, I'm going to make a prediction that he's now going to go down to shore level, to water level, and he's now going to shoot into that band of miraging.
Okay.
And we're not going to see part of the ship, and so he's going to say, "See, curved."
Okay.
And there's the port of Brisbane out there, and I'm going to start this clip zoomed in on a ship.
Okay, right here. Okay. So here's the ship that he zooms in on, but then he changes to the ship that's to the left. Okay, so I'm going to push play and it should pan out. Okay, now let me see if I think I did a screenshot of this one too. So give me a second. All right. So again, the line is squiggly, but that's just because. Okay, so right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, we have an inferior mirage across the entire field of view.
Yeah.
Okay. So what that means is, if I took this took this line away right now, and you looked at the hull right here to the left, you're going to think that's the entire physical hull. It's not. That is not the entire physical. You are not looking at a physical hull below this line.
No.
So that's not accurate. Okay, look at right here in the middle too. Let me do this. Right here, this is an inferior mirage.
Yeah.
You cannot discount this information. Like, what is this? How high is this? You know, all of this stuff. So this whole thing about this inferior mirage can't block so much stuff is an absolute hand wave dismissal of, and he even said it again. He shot himself in the foot. The reason you see what you see is because of refraction. Okay, so we have to take these things into account. Now, if we look up here, okay, this is refracted. There's no mirage, but there's refraction here. There's distortion here. I mean, look.
Yes, there is distortion.
Let me do this. Let me do this real quick. If you look at these pilings right here, they wiggle. They wiggle. They're distorted, right? I mean, this is quonk, wonk. You know, so it's all of this stuff is hand wave dismissal shenanigans. Now let me go over here. I just remembered another part on this. What I want to do is look at the bow. I want you to look at the bow and tell me what you see. I don't want to bait it yet. I want to see if you pick it up.
You see, it goes into a smudge, doesn't it?
Okay, if I'm going to interpret what you're saying right here.
Yeah, that bit there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes into a smudge.
Yeah.
It's not a defined line like it is at the blue part.
I mean, look at. Right. So this is the hull. I'm going to follow this line down. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
If this is where the boat ends, what's this red smudge right here?
That's where the miraging's going on, isn't it?
Right? I mean, come on. You can't. All I'm saying is, you can't ignore this stuff. You can't just hand wave dismiss refraction. Okay? Okay, here we go. So again, now here, this is interesting, right? Because this is a different distance from this guy, Critical Think. Why is the red color gone at the stern? Okay, you've got a clear inferior mirage right here. So this inferior mirage has taken away this. Okay, so give me the measurements of this color on the physical. What, 12 feet? Is this 20 feet of color? So this inferior mirage has now swallowed up 20 feet of color. Okay, now, but over here, we don't have that same phenomenon. So, you know, whatever that means, I don't know. I'm just talking out loud, just saying what I notice. But what I am saying here as well, that we already looked at here, is that... is that this inferior mirage stretches across the entire field of view, and everything below the vanishing line is not physical. It's not physical, but it touches. Okay, I hate this. Okay, hold on. All right, there's that. Okay, now where is this line physically? I believe that we could get there if we put a boat and told them to stop as soon as we could have accuracy in terms of what we were seeing visually, right? But my point is that the distance from the vanishing line, okay, the distance from the vanishing line to the horizon is Let's say it in two different ways, Mark. One way is the degree of angle that we're looking at, right? Okay, so I'm looking straight ahead. This little box here has a certain value in terms of the degree of the angle that I'm looking at. But the other aspect of this has to do with distance. And that is where this water ends visually has a physical location, but we don't know it. And the inferior mirage that is below the vanishing line covers that amount of distance. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say it for the audience in case you're seeing this for the first time and you don't know the way I think. The other way that I represent this inferior mirage is that of a shadow.
Okay, hold on real quick.
Okay.
I was going to stop this when that part came up and I got distracted by the chat. Hold on real quick.
Value in terms of the degree angle that I'm looking at. But the other aspect of this has to do with distance. And that is where this water ends visually has a physical location, but we don't know it. And the inferior mirage that is below the vanishing line covers that amount of distance. Does that make sense to you?
Okay. Okay, this is a sidebar from the recording. This is live now. I'm talking live. You can hear the sultry sound of my voice. I'm going to try and demonstrate with these 4 panels the explanation that I am trying to express in my analysis on Critical Think's video, as well as in my other videos. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Okay, I've got to make sure. I've got to move this down. Hold on. This thing is so... I want to make sure I have everything. Alright, so I'm going to leave that right there. I think I'm going to see if I can get my pointer out. Give me 1 second. Get my pointer. Pointy. There we go. Okay. I have access to my pointer now. Okay. All right, I appreciate you guys being patient, and everybody who is in the chat. Make sure you hit those Fonzarellis, give it a thumbs up, and if you're going to be able to hang around for the after show, I will be giving the link out for us to have some open discussion, and maybe watch the rest of Critical Think's video live. Okay. Let's go to the bottom. Let's go to the bottom right panel. Okay, we're going to look at the bottom right panel real quick. This is a 3-dimensional world. Okay, everything in front of us is line of sight. If you cannot see it, either it's not there or there is an obstruction. And the obstruction is always refraction. Okay, if there is no, listen very closely please, if there is no discernible inferior mirage, there is still refraction, and that is the obstruction. Okay, we have to start thinking along these lines. All right. I cannot grab a hold of the pointer right now. Okay, here we go. Okay, right here. Above is the double eye mirage. Above the in the 2 panels above. Okay. Above the mirage is the obstruction. Okay. What value of height would you give the elevation of these houses? Okay. All of these photos here. All of these photos are taken from the same location, the same height, and the top 2 are 250 millimeter, and these bottom 2 are differentiated here. This one is zoomed in to where I usually use the cape here and the channel marker to frame my pictures. Okay,
So this was taken on the same day, and all I did was here, I zoomed out. This is zoomed in, so that's why there's different levels, okay? But here, we have a clear line of sight 9 miles away, okay? 9 miles away. Up here, we cannot see the shoreline. We cannot see these houses. They are obscured by refraction. Refraction is the obstruction each and every time, okay? Look at the difference in the texture of water, okay? This is the way I describe it. This water here looks like I'm higher up and farther away. I'm not. Same location and height. This water here looks like I'm closer to it and I'm lower to the water. I'm not. Same location, same height, okay? In this image here, the water has been refracted up so that this horizon is there because the refraction in this band here is creating that horizon. The reason why you cannot see these houses here, the reason why you can't see them here is not because this physical water is blocking them. Those houses are not here where my finger is pointing. See this pointy finger? The houses are not here. They're here. And you cannot see them because they are behind the band. All right? We have a boat right here. We have a boat right here. That boat has an inferior mirage. That boat is farther away from the horizon, and in perspective, it is lifted up. Okay? I kind of did this backwards. These triangles here represent perspective. Okay, imagine that those are railroad tracks going into the distance. Okay, this is all, see this arrow here? This arrow, this is all going into the distance according to perspective. And then these arrows are above the horizon, but they continue the observation along the lines of perspective. The reason why you can't see anything here is because it's being refracted. Okay? Whatever value is given to the degree of this angle here, right? There's like, we're looking at a particular angle, a particular amount. And Critical Think touches on this a little bit in his diagram where he contrasts the 15 meters and the 1 meter, okay? Whatever value we give to this degree of angle 9 miles away, the mirage has vanished the entire shoreline along with the houses. So if you look, I didn't do this, but if you looked right here, this is an inferior mirage. This is an inferior mirage right here. Okay? This cape is being miraged at this point. Okay? So that mirage has a degree. It represents distance and height. Okay? So this long rectangle right here, sorry for the pointy finger jiggling. I wish this thing would just stay still. This long rectangle right here represents the same space right here, okay? Same space here, okay? In each of these, you have a different distance from the channel marker to the horizon. Channel marker to the horizon. That's a different angle. That's a different angle. This is grossly a different angle. We see farther. Why can we see this far right now? Because there's less refraction. There's less refraction. Okay? So, sorry about missing that cue. I was trying to follow the chat and I got distracted, but I caught it. And let's get back to watching the...
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say for the audience in case you're seeing this for the first time,
don't know the way I think. The other way that I physical location is the degree of angle that we're looking at, right? Okay, so I'm looking straight ahead. This little box here has a certain value in terms of the degree of the angle that I'm looking at. But the other aspect of this has to do with distance. And that is where this water ends visually has a physical location, but we don't know it. And the inferior mirage that is below the vanishing line covers that amount of distance. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say it for the audience in case you're seeing this for the first time and you don't know the way I think. The other way that I represent this inferior mirage is that of a shadow. Okay? If this were a tree, and the tree was 50 Oh, I thought I turned my mic off. Crack a smurf. Okay. Gonna do it over again. These shadows represent the mirage, okay? The mirage not only has length, it also has height and breadth. It's three-dimensional, okay? This tree could be 40 feet high. Could be 40 feet high. The shadow extends past the physical length of the tree and could be 100 feet, 200 feet long. Okay? You have to think this way about the mirage. The mirage has extension on all three axes: length, width or breadth, and then height. All of it. You can't just do geometry, critical think. You cannot just do geometry. That's what the whole debate has been about. Doing an orthographic geometrical number crunch. And then we say, what about the atmosphere? What about the atmosphere? You cannot math the atmosphere. All right? So, sorry about that. I thought I pushed the mute. Here we go, back to feet high, and it had a shadow, and this shadow stretched out and came to this line in the water. Would that shadow equal the height of the tree? How would you know? How would you find that out, right? So the shadow could stretch out farther than the actual physical height of the tree. So this distance here from this horizon to the vanishing line. Okay, I just have to jump in. Okay, I'm jumping in right now. Okay, critical think. Everybody listen. Look at critical think's comment. Of course you can do geometry. That's not what I said. I said you can't just do. You can't just do geometry. Okay? This is a problem. You're not listening.
You're not listening. Okay? You can't just do the math. Indeterminable, but it is not insignificant. And in my opinion, this is what I'm saying, and Rumpus says this degree can't hide this much ship. Yeah, it is. Look at how much is this hiding. This is hiding the ship right here. This is hiding the ship. Because that's not physical. When Critical Think looked at this, more than likely, he thought the color here he was looking at is uniform and all physical. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. Now, we've already just demonstrated that the bottom of this ship is an inferior mirage. I'm gonna jump in again. But he's describing here, okay? Okay, watch, look at Critical Think's comment. You can't just ignore the geometry. Okay. This is what you just said is a non sequitur, Critical Think. That is a non sequitur. I didn't say that. It doesn't follow that simply because I said you can't just do geometry, it doesn't follow, Critical Think, that I am saying you ignore geometry. Did I say that? No. This is the problem with your video at the very beginning. You created a straw man about waves on the bay when there were no waves on the bay and no one was saying that about this video. Okay? You are creating an idea that you can destroy, but you don't have any idea what the idea is. Do you? You don't. You don't, because right now, 2 times in a row, you have just proven that you're not listening to the sultry sound of my voice. Describing it as if he's looking at the bottom of the ship. He's not. The color here he was looking at is uniform and all physical. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. Now, we've already just demonstrated that the bottom of this ship is an inferior mirage.
Yeah.
But he's describing it as if he's looking at the bottom of the ship. He's not. Critical Think, you are not seeing the bottom of this ship. Okay? The statement that I've made in all my other comments is if we could take a magic eraser and take the mirage away, you would actually
go to the far left where there's concrete. See, you can see a mirror line there, can't you?
Well, yeah, I took another picture. I think of this one. Let me see if it's right here. No, that was the other one. Because I was just snapping pics as he was going through. Let me see if this is it. Okay. All right. Again, if you think that this little box is a box, I think that I would challenge your conclusion. Okay. If we cut this in half, it is now not a box, but simply something that has 2 sides to it, and more than likely, I would say the water goes straight up to this. But the mirage has completed the box. It's an inverted image.
That's right, yeah. It's created a square. It's created a square there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, he's incorrect. He's not looking at the hull of this boat touching the water. He's not. And that's what he's describing right here.
And there, containers very clearly, and
stop. Very clearly. See how he's lining up his audience there.
Yeah. No, I know. It's gaslighting to the nth degree. I mean,
yeah.
You can see that they are containers. I'll grant you that. But to say that it's very clear is to misdirect that there's nothing going on in terms of refraction.
Yeah.
When you've got enough height, you can see the bottom of the ship. You can see the red band there. Containers very clearly, and just for Phuket words edification, you can see the colours of the ship too.
He's going to have to change his name, isn't he, from Critical Think?
That's what that was my very first comment. My very first comment was, I think you're going to have to change your name to Lack of Critical Think. All right, so here we go.
Now I've gone down the hill, closer to the surface, and you can still see there it's choppy surface. There's no huge swell, but there you.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here because I hadn't noticed this yet. I believe that refraction, I've said this before, the ether band is entirely everywhere that we're looking right now. It's in the entire 360 degree, or not 300, but 180 degree that we're looking straight ahead, and it's three-dimensional: height, width, depth. Okay.
Yeah, I can straight away see a mirror band along there.
I know. He hand waves to dismiss it. Here it comes. Here we go.
Can't see the bottom of that ship. There is a bit of an inferior mirage.
A bit.
You can see along the bottom.
Okay, hold on. Just wait for. Just listen to everything. Let him finish his statement right now. Just listen.
Okay.
Along the surface of the water there, just above the surface. I'm not going to argue about where the real surface is, or which part is air and which part is water. That's an argument for another day. But you can see that, let's just say that the way the water is there, that is the real horizon. Let's just say that. But you can see that there's still plenty of boat mist.
Let's just say that Santa Claus really brought the presents.
You can see that there's still plenty of boat mist.
Let's just say that Santa Claus really brought the presents. Okay, again, right now, Critical is addressing the point that I made earlier, but it's got to be made again and again. We have to sing this song over and over and over again, okay? I'm going to get over here real quick with my pointer, okay? All right, right here above. Okay, listen to me, Critical, okay? Please listen to me. I know that you're acknowledging, that there's refraction, okay? I know that. What you are not conceding to, and this is my argument, is that that amount of refraction is the obstruction, okay? If you look at this picture right here, you can clearly see an inferior mirage right here, okay? Now, if we could take away the amount of refraction, right? You guys say this all the time. If we could take away the atmosphere, right? The ether band is affecting everything in this field of view. Critical. It's affecting everything. It's affecting the water, and the horizon is created. Okay, this horizon is not physical. It's not created by physical curvature. Okay, so I guess I would have to ask, is that your position, right? I don't want to create a straw man. I believe it's your position. You believe that that line where the water is right here is where the curve is. Okay? So in this image, I'm going to go into the next shot where my 4-panel is and do the explanation again as brief as I can. Because this degree of angle that you're looking at the bottom of the boat, everything is still there. Everything is still there. It's not lower than the water. It's not behind the water, lower than the water over the horizon. Okay, it is above, just like in perspective. Okay, here we go. I really would like everybody
that is the real horizon. Let's just say that. But you can see that there's...
Okay, you just said, let's just say that's the real horizon. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not the real horizon. Okay, well, hold on. That is the horizon. Okay? But it's being created by the limit of the mirage. Okay?
Still plenty of boat mist.
Let's just say that Santa Claus really brought the presents. All right? Here we go. If you look into the distance here, okay, this is not going to be a dynamic equivalent, everybody. This is not going to be a dynamic equivalent, but it is the same effect, okay? This distance here is right here, above the water line again. Above the water line, not down here. This house is not right here. It's right here. Okay? The mirage is not just, the refraction is not just affecting what's on the horizon. It's also affecting the way this water looks right now. I am not closer to the water. The water is not higher up. I'm in the same place right here. Why does the water look differently? Because of the refraction that's in the smurfing air. This image right here is this image right here with refraction. If I could take away the refraction here, I would see this. So when we look at the boat, if you could take away the refraction that's causing the distortion, you would see the color. You'd see the color. That angle, that degree of angle right here. I mean, think about this. How big is this house? That's what's getting blocked right here. Okay? When you see that inferior mirage, and you can draw a box around that inferior mirage could be swallowing up 60 feet. Think about this. See how big see this house right here? This house is not on the shore. It's elevated up and away from the shore. How high? 60 feet maybe. What about 30? Okay? The refraction can swallow up a large amount of 3D space. Okay, if I can say that better, anybody out there, if I can say it better, please help me in the after show, okay?
Let's just, this is absolutely insane. If no one has a critical mind as you're listening to this guy spew his bias and his gaslighting of his audience, if it's like, these guys are just like fanboys. They're like, oh yeah, say it again. Say it again.
That mirror line is actually quite high up the hull, isn't it?
We simply have to understand. Now he's gotten closer. So he's even labeled his independent variable as his height. But the thing that you can't discount is the way that you change the thing that you can't. I mean, your height and your distance do affect the way that you see an object that you're observing. But when you go down closer, you increase the cause. You add to, increase, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to put the line right here. Now, as best we can, right, I'm going to say that this mirror line is actually larger than the one that we were looking at before. The one that we were looking at before, I would say, was like closer to the water. But this one, right, if I'm going to go up, I'm going to show you where I'm going to go right now. I'm going to look right here as my point of where I'm going to put the vanishing line, because I've got the top of the boat here. It's coming down and then it comes back out right here. So for me, or I could even do it right here. There's a good little contrast.
Yeah, the buildings are helping as well.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, yeah. Right there. Okay. Now my same comment applies. That degree of angle that you're looking at right here. What's behind this is the physical boat. If you could wipe away this the effects of the aetherband right here, you would see the water go all the way. Okay, so just to talk this through, again, he says, let's just say that this is the actual water line. You can't say that. It's not. Where you're seeing this water line right here is where the mirage ends.
The reason why you're seeing this line is because the mirage goes to that line. Okay, here's me interjecting again real quick. I gotta back this up. Hold on, real quick. You would see the water go all the way. Okay, so just to talk this through. Again, he says, let's just say that this is the actual water line. You can't say that. It's not. Where you're seeing this. Okay, so what I want to make a clarification right here. What I mean by this is the actual water line is that this is not where the water ends, okay? Physically, that's not where the water ends. The water continues into the distance according to perspective, the way we understand that it does. So when I say this is not where the water ends, that's what I mean. However, this is where the mirage ends and no longer obscures what's behind the mirage, which is the water. Okay, I say this all the time in my videos. Water line right here is where the mirage ends. The reason why you're seeing this line. Okay, so now, I gotta grab my pointer. Okay, this is the same shot. Okay, the same shot. We have two different presentations of the shoreline. Okay, two different presentations of the shoreline. On this shoreline, you have more exposed. There's more exposed here. I have a shot of this where you can't even see the shoreline, and everything is swallowed up and compressed into the mirror. I'm sorry, into the mirage. Okay, you see this? You see this red canopy right here? This is a boat. Okay, so the question is, where's the boat? Where's the bottom of the boat? Why can't I see the boat? It's not behind the curve. It's not behind the curve. It's not behind the curve. Okay, I have other pictures just like this as well, where the boats, you can't see them. They're in the band. They are lower than the angle, the degree at which they would be above the aetherband in order to be seen. Just like this one, you can see it right here. You can see it. Why? It's high enough to break the band. But the hull of this boat is not. It's compressed. It's in this band. It's the same. If you can say, okay, Travis, I get that. I get that. You're right. That's what's happening here. Okay. My challenge is for you to be open-minded enough to think about the fact that that's what's happening everywhere. Line is because the mirage goes to that line. Okay, here's another shot. This is the same shot. This left panel was the right panel before, okay? Look at this. This is the same location. You see how high this is right here? Look how low it is right here. This looks like I'm farther away. I'm not. This looks like I'm closer. I'm not. The aetherband is affecting this entire field of view. Not just right here. Not just right here. What's creating this horizon? What's creating this horizon? What's creating this horizon? That's going to be my question to you when we get to your ship that's 11 kilometers away. What's creating that horizon? Because the answer is the same each and every time. The answer is the same each and every time. It is not the curvature that is the cause of the horizon. It's the aetherband. Everybody drink. That's not the horizon.
Travis, I'm going to have kids coming in 20 minutes, so
okay.
Let's carry on, yeah?
Okay, yeah. Okay, just again saying, and if I can say this better, then by all means try to help me say this better. But he says that, let's just say that this is the actual water line. Okay, it's not. It's not the actual water line. The reason why you're seeing this the way that you're seeing this is because that's where the mirage ends. And you don't know the distance, but this little degree of angle that you're looking at could be 10 miles.
Yeah, we don't know where it's starting or where it finished. Yeah, we just don't know how far away.
Now it's not 10 miles because the distance is only 7. So, but it could be 3.5 miles.
Yeah,
Okay.
it could even be further, closer, because of the horizon. The water comes to an abrupt end. It doesn't just dissipate into very tiny waves. It's an abrupt end.
Below that, forget about how much the inferior mirage might eat up. I don't.
Okay, listen to that.
Forget about it.
Forget about how much the inferior mirage might eat up. No, that's exactly the point.
Of course, yeah.
That is exactly the point. Now we're just going to forget about that.
Care about that. There's still boat missing.
There's still boat missing. Right. Why is there boat missing? Because of the inferior mirage. So now he's gone down lower.
And if you go further down, closer to the water, there's more boat missing. And yes, you can see all the colours of the boat. Yes, we have a camera that we can zoom in, and a good camera that we can zoom in and see.
Okay, so just a real quick point, all right? The one thing that, okay, right here, you can see this inferior mirage right here, okay? See that inferior mirage right there? That's not a physical object. That's not a physical rectangle, okay? Everything right here across this, everything right here is in the band, okay? That is the mirage, okay? That represents 3D space. It represents distance, okay? Here's my question. Here is, it just came to me. I've thought about it before, but it just came to me right now, so I'm going to try to go on the record with this, okay? Critical Think has given us 3 different observation heights, 15 meters, whatever meters, and then 1 meter, okay? I don't remember him saying the second height, okay? Okay. Each time he moves from one elevation to the other, he moves the horizon. The horizon in each one is created by the refraction each time. Each time at each height. So he's increasing the distance of the shadow, okay? Go back to what I said about the tree. Let's think about it this way. When he's at 15 meters, the sun is at 70 degrees. When he goes down to 9 meters, the sun is at 35 degrees. When he goes down to 1 meter, the sun is at 10 degrees. When he moves his location, it's just like the sun changing its degree and increasing the shadow. Okay? Again, everybody out there, you're hearing me. I don't want you to be yes men. You know, let's have a, if what I'm saying is true, then that's great. But that's my argument, okay? That's why it's not, again, refraction is the curve. It's not curvature. It's not curvature. Because when he's down at 1 meter, the horizon is closer to him, which means there's more distance and the boat would be behind more curve. But that's not reality, okay? From shore to shore, water is always level. Water does not go up like we see it in perspective. It's not going up. That's not the way water behaves. It doesn't go up, okay?
That. Forget about how much the inferior mirage might eat up. I don't.
Forget about how much the inferior mirage might eat up. No, I'm going to say it again right now. Okay, listen to that.
Forget about it.
Forget about how much the inferior mirage might eat up. No, that's exactly the point.
Of course, yeah.
That is exactly the point. Now we're just going to forget about that.
care about that. There's still boat missing.
There's still boat missing, right. Why is there boat missing? Because of the inferior mirage. Okay, so now, right here, okay, you have an inferior mirage right here. Right above, right above, right where my finger is pointing, right there. That's the inferior mirage. That is blocking everything below it. Everything. 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 This is just like blocking the houses on the Susquehanna, on the Chesapeake Bay. Where are those houses? They're right here in this degree. Oh, are you telling me that that small little space right there can block all those houses? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's right. Yes. That's where the vanishing line starts, and the disclosing line is where the water starts. But you don't know that distance. Put a boat on this horizon. Put a boat on this horizon, and that will help in fleshing out this discussion more and more. Okay? You have to take everything into account. It's not just a simple one and done looking at one picture and thinking that you understand it. You have to take everything into account, which is why I'm showing you all of my footage. So now he's gone down lower.
And if you go further down closer to the water, there's more boat missing. And yes, you can see all the colours of the boat. Yes, we have a camera that we can zoom in, and a good camera that we can zoom in and see.
Okay, so we're just going to cut it in half as best. So like, I'm going to go over here. See over here to the left, we've got this little part right here, comes down, and then it's mirrored right here. So I'm going to put it like right in the middle of that. Okay.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of stretching going on in there and compression.
Yeah, and so right. So again, this is not a clear image of this boat. This boat, in my opinion, because you are getting yourself down lower, you're increasing the distortion here. This boat is distorted. Okay, so it's going to be stretched and magnified. So you can't just think that you're looking at an accurate depiction of the scale of the top of this boat. Everything is changing. Okay, so the point that I want to make right now is you have to take that into consideration when we see boats at a distance beyond the horizon. Not below, beyond. Okay, it's past the horizon in a linear tangent horizontal plane. When it gets that low, that's like being right here in a higher index of refraction. It's going to distort this image. You cannot do a blink test and show a clearer image of the boat and say, look, it's the same boat. It might be the same boat, but it's not to scale. And the reason why it's not to scale is because of the refraction. And
where your cursor was there on that white block, you've got the bridge. Yeah, that it's like a zigzag.
This one right.
Is that a container?
This one right here.
Move your cursor. No. Further over near the bridge. The bridge of the that one there. Is that a straight container or a number of containers on top of each other? Or?
Well, I guess we would have to go back to, let's go back and see the video. Yeah, so I don't know where that picture came from, so we'll just keep going.
So here is a ship that I've captured.
All right, so I want to say this real quick right now, because right at the beginning of the video, we saw one of the ships, and at the very back, the colors were in the mirage. Okay, look, you have color of the hull, color of the hull, color of the hull. Right back here, it's gone. Right? Why is it gone? Why is it gone? Just asking a question. Right? Okay, let me say this again. He doesn't give the distance from his location to the port of Brisbane, but it is 7 nautical miles. Okay?
Yeah.
It's 7 nautical miles. So let me go back and change that real quick with Google Earth just to have his kilometers. Zoom in real quick. All right, so here's the port of Brisbane here. and here is where the Arboretum is. 13-ish kilometers. Okay, so 13 kilometers. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes his description of what he's seeing right now. 13 kilometers, where we were looking at stuff getting disappeared. Now he's at an elevated position, and he'll describe it in just a second, but here we go.
It's about 11 points, nearly 12 kilometers away. And you can clearly see that the ship is on the horizon. You can see the red band at the bottom. A lot of ships have that.
Okay, no. The ship is not on the horizon. That's not where the water ends. Okay? The ship is not... This is what I said earlier with the ships that were in port. The ships that were in the port, I said this earlier, Critical Think, you are not seeing the entire hull touch the water. That lower band on the hull is an inferior mirage. This boat has an inferior mirage. Why? Well, because it's only 1 kilometer closer. Okay? There's still refraction in the air. That horizon is not created by curve. That horizon is created by the aetherband. The hull of the ship is not on that water line. It's not on that water line. It's beyond it. You are not seeing the hull of the ship touch that horizon. Okay? You're not.
And you can see the colors.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right now because I just thought of this. Okay, so he said that this ship is 12 kilometers away. And I just showed you that the port of Brisbane is 1 more kilometer farther, 1,000 meters farther away. If we saw an inferior mirage at the surface of the water at 13 kilometers, okay, it's going to be my assumption that we're looking at an inferior mirage here as well, which means that we're not seeing the physical base of this hull touch the water. There's an aspect at which, right above this water, there's an inferior mirage going on that has to be taken into consideration. Okay?
You can see that there's something really wrong about this according to the Flat Earth.
Okay, so he gives the measurements and his pixels, and he's got a P1000. The height of the ship is about 78 feet or 24 meters. Okay?
The fact is, I'm about 15 meters in height.
Okay, so now he's giving you where his location is. He says he's 15 meters in height.
But the horizon is not there 15 meters high on the ship. The ship is on the horizon. This can only mean one thing, flatties. The ocean curves away. You don't see it go off into the distance. And if you're thinking...
Okay. So now his argument is that he's up 15 meters. He thinks that this horizon should be higher up. Not blocking the boat, but that the boat and the horizon should be lifted up. Can you see anything wrong with this image right now, Mark? How would you analyze what he said? That the... Let me go back right there, okay? He says that the water line, because he's 15 meters high, the water line should be there. Can you see anything wrong with this image? How would you analyze that?
On a foggy day, the horizon is at your feet. So depending on how much moisture or muck is in the air, depends on where the horizon would appear.
Okay. I'm not... Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm going to try to describe it right now. So I've now put a grid on this image, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do right here is do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Okay. So I'm going to start at the base. Start at the base right here. So we've got, I'm going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 squares. Got that?
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Now, from the horizon up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think it's more than 17. So this is not even centered. He's got more sky than he has water. And you know what would happen if he eliminated a little bit of this sky? This horizon would be right where the he says it should be.
So you're just saying the way the camera is pointing.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying that he deliberately did this, but he's not looking at it correctly. He's got more sky. This is not centered.
Yeah.
Okay, so deal with that, Critical Think. I think we're going to stop right here because Mark's got kids coming home. But I mean, come on, man. Come on. I mean, this could only mean one thing, Globey. You didn't fucking analyze your data very well. Your hand wave dismissing refraction. You clearly say earlier that refraction is the reason why you see what you see. Yeah, that's exactly it. Exactly it. And the reason why you see the horizon right here is because of refraction. That means that this horizon that you're seeing is not what you're seeing because of curve. It's not because of curve. It's not because of curve. I think that's a pretty good first episode. Huh?
Yeah, are we going to let him come, join us and talk about it? Or
I don't know. I mean, if he wants to, I'm fine with it. All right. We made it through. That's not even the end of his video, but I didn't want to make it too long, and I know that I interjected, but you know, it is what it is. It's an ongoing discussion. Okay, so everybody out there, thanks for being here. We're going to continue the show. It's going to be an after show, and if you go to the description, you should go to the very bottom of the description, and you should see the link for the panel for Zoom. Okay, so we're going to have an open panel, and we will keep it peaceable. We will keep it nice and nice. Okay, so everybody is invited. If you want to join the panel, go to the description, and I will watch the chat in case I missed something in listing it in the description, but I think I got it there. Okay. All right, so yeah, I'm not answering questions about Polaris. That's not my argument. Okay, have fun. If you want to talk about Polaris, go somewhere else. All right, so again, thank you, Critical Think, for being in the chat. Thank you for being here. I know that we can follow this up with a healthy discussion. So again, feel free to join. In the meantime. In between time, in the meantime, something. All right. Okay, Critical, so it looks like you're not going to be able to be here. Okay, just play the next minute. Okay, you want me to play... Let's see if I can find it.
Yes, my zoom lens has no... And here's the ocean curves away. You don't see it go off into the distance.
No, the ocean does not curve away.
And
the horizon
if you're
is the result.
thinking, as some do...
Okay, so he says right now, again, he's creating a straw man. If you're thinking, okay, nobody's making this claim about what you're about to destroy right now. No one's making this claim.
That's just the limit of sight. You can't see beyond that. That's why you can't see the water. Well, I've got a picture here.
Okay, yeah, if you wanted me to go, right, if you wanted me to go here, yeah, I'm going to go here. Okay? You did not give us any information on this picture. You didn't show us what the tangent was. Where is this land, right? What land is this? Okay? So if you want me to go here, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here right now. Okay? Right here at this horizon, there's an inferior mirage at the island, okay? There's an inferior mirage. There's also an inferior mirage in front of the boat because the boat is not on the horizon, it's beyond the horizon. You can see the colors right here. See these colors? They disappear toward the stern, okay? There's refraction going on right here. Now, you think that you're proving a point here by showing land behind the ship. Okay, you're bringing up a completely different argument. This proves flat Earth because this is going into the distance just like perspective. This horizon right here, that's not physical curvature. That's where the refraction begins from perspective. Going into the distance this way, boom, that's where the refraction begins. And that refraction, this boat is not on that line. It's beyond it. Okay? So you have to deal with that. There's an inferior mirage right here. That inferior mirage is swallowing up a physical portion of this 3D space right here. Okay? So, there you go. All right, so I don't have anybody joining the panel, so maybe I'll just keep going here. We're doing this live.
You can see beyond this ship on this day quite easily.
Okay, right. Hold on.
You can't see the water.
You can't see the water, right? So his argument is you can't see water going into the distance.
Well, I've got a picture here that will cover that.
What's your picture prove? What does it prove? It's not even the same. I mean, again, you didn't give us any data on this. Are you at 15 meters here? Where is this ship?
You can see beyond this ship on this day quite easily.
You see, okay, look. I don't get what you're saying. You just said you can see beyond this ship quite easily. Okay. And?
That excuse. Now, here's as I get close.
Okay, now, again, this is still the same principle. Okay, when you lower your angle, you are increasing the degree and the distance, okay? This horizon right now is a particular distance away. Here, let me ask you this question. I don't even think he's still here. I think he left. Okay, so here's the question. Ready for the question? Okay. He says the boat is on the horizon here. Okay, he says it's on the horizon.
See the water? Well, I've got a picture here.
Okay. Does he say it's on the horizon here? Right? Are these two pictures taken from the same height? Again, I'm just asking because he doesn't tell us. Look at the distortion. You see this? The bridge here. See this? Look at this distortion. It's not the same. This is refraction going on right here. Globy. This is refraction. Look at the difference. Where is that? Where's your tangent here? Is this farther to the east? Is it farther to the west? You aren't giving us enough information. I can still tear it apart, which is what I'm doing right now. So my question is here. Is this boat on the horizon here? Yeah, I think he's going to say yes. Is this boat on the horizon here? Yes. You ready for the punchline? You ready for the punchline? You ready for the punchline? Is this boat on the horizon right here? You can't have it all three ways. You can't have it three-way. Sorry. On the horizon, on the horizon. Oh, not on the horizon. On the horizon, on the horizon, not on the horizon. Okay? This horizon is a different distance than this horizon from the boat. But the boat has a distance to this horizon. It's not on the horizon. It's past it. It's beyond it. Okay? And above this right here, this is the same principle as looking at the topography 9 miles away on the Chesapeake, right? There is massive amount of 3D space being obscured here. I know you might not accept that, you might not understand it, but that's the reality. If you could put a boat on this horizon line, you would have an idea as to how far this location is from this boat. But right now, you can't say anything definitive in your world. The reason why, your world depends on geography in this. This has to measure up precisely. But you can't say what this is physically because this is an inferior mirage. This is being miraged right here. This little blue thing right here, that's not solid. Part of that is a mirage. The mirage goes all the way across. If you think that you're looking at a solid piece of whatever this red is, that's not solid. Right above this water line is a mirage. So this is not physically touching. Oh my God. I mean, all right. I'm not really, I don't have to be the only voice here. So join the panel. And there, if you want to join the panel, there you go.
Now, here's as I get closer down to the water, I'm
just going to stop it again. Right here, you can see, you can see an inferior mirage right here. Did I hear somebody join? I thought I heard somebody join. Did I close the wrong window? Maybe I closed the wrong window. I don't see... Oh, it says return to meeting. No. I'm the only one here. All right. Okay. All right. So...
see this same ship, but oh dear, it appears as if the whole hull is missing.
Oh dear, it appears as if the whole hull is missing.
Bottom up.
Okay, you
but
cannot do a blink test.
We can still see the top of the ship. We can still see the colours. We can still recognise it as the same ship.
It might be the same ship, but there is a different index of refraction going on, right? So again, it's not a very clear image at the hull, right? But based on what we saw at 13 kilometers in port, we saw that there was an inferior mirage at the horizon. There is an inferior mirage going on right here. So you're not looking at the ship on the horizon, okay?
Here's the ship. It's aptly named the Brisbane. It's a hopper dredger. And here's its coordinates on this day.
Okay, so look, it's only 6 nautical miles. Okay, that's not very far. 6 nautical miles. So my question is it your opinion out there? Anybody? Danny D? Anybody out here who is not flat Earth? Is it your opinion that the horizon is always a physical location? Right? Because, again, Critical Think made the claim. I'm not making a straw man. He made the claim. The ship is on the horizon. So it's at a physical location, at least in one of his declarations, right? So if the horizon is always a physical location, is it your opinion that the horizon is blocking the ship at 7 miles? All right? Think about geometry. If geometry is cut and dry, distance, 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 it's just boom, it's just distance. If the horizon is blocking a ship at 7 miles, is it your opinion that every ship at 7 miles must be missing the same amount of its body, regardless of its physical dimensions, right? So you can have different ships on the horizon, but that horizon is going to be blocking the same amount, the same degree, the same percentage, right? So if his boat has 30 feet missing at 7 miles, everywhere else in the world, if you're 7 miles away from anything, you should be missing the exact same amount. Right? But I have footage of things farther and closer, and they're not missing the same amount. Why not? It's always, only, and ever will be due to refraction.
You'll see that it also says distance from my location, 6.32 nautical miles, which is approximately 12 kilometers. And here I've plotted out the position of the ship and the position of the observation point, and that's 11.66 kilometers. And yes, my zoom lens has no problem reaching that far. So let's look at that again.
Whether or not your zoom lens reaches
There's
that
the
far
ship.
is irrelevant.
And there's the ship obscure.
Okay, again, right above the horizon there, you've got tons of refraction. Tons of refraction. That is not physical ship. Hello, hello, hello. What ho? Looks like, is it Rennie? Can you hear me? Return to meeting. Let me see. I can see you. Can you hear me? Looks like you just left. Alright, so I had someone join, but they didn't stay around, so I'll keep waiting if you want to join again. Whoever just joined, it looked like the name was Rennie. I saw you, but it doesn't look like the audio was working. So just, if you join, just hang around for a second. We'll figure out your audio, okay? Alright guys, the link is in the chat if you want to join. Okay, there it is again. Join the panel.
Good bottom up. So the only difference between these two observations is this one I'm higher, this one I'm...
That's not the only difference. Okay, listen. He's going to get into it with the diagram. Maybe with his diagram
Now,
I'll be able to...
we'll start to deal with the excuses. That's...
Okay, listen. He's going to create an unnecessary amount of time here. Let's deal with the excuses, okay? No one is saying anything about your video right now, Critical Think. This is all you just talking. So just tell us what you want. Don't create these straw man arguments.
Some people say that some flatties...
I'm not even going to entertain these.
And just as the maximum that would be obscured of it.
Yeah, he's dealing
water,
with... he's dealing with, again, yes, some people have made these arguments, right? But that doesn't have anything to do with your video, okay? If someone makes that comment about your video,
in the comments, then deal with it there,
Right,
not here.
This is the thing about this. They laugh and they say it's ridiculous that we think that. Go figure. Swell. He ever does something. So, this.
Okay, so here we go. All right. Here is. I would like to join, but I can't at the moment. Okay, that's all right. Flat Earth data. That's fine. So. This is a bit of the idea that I was trying to communicate with the shadows. Okay, so this is an orthographic view. Okay, you have critical think here at 15 meters. Okay, now he's not looking down here. He's looking here. You know, he's looking straight across. He's looking straight across. Okay, and at his height, from where his eyes start to see in front of him, you've got the medium through which he's looking is increasing in distance and density the whole way. Okay, so that when he comes down here, if he is looking down here, this is going to be obscured by refraction. More than this. This is higher up. The lower you get down closer toward the horizon with refraction, you are going to increase the density of that medium. Okay? You just simply magnify. You, what's the fancy word? You exacerbate. Right? You increase exponentially that medium by getting lower down. You're still looking, both these guys right here, you see this? This guy and this guy, they both see the same boat. But each one sees it differently because of his elevation. At this elevation of 1 meter, the refraction that's in the air is going to present an image of this ship to him differently than him. That's what happens when you lower your angle. When you lower your angle, you increase the medium's density, the aetherband. The aetherband is affected, and I've said this from the beginning. The only thing that you can do to manipulate your observation is by changing your distance or changing your height. Okay, I've said that from the beginning.
Some instructions for you, Gary, further on in the video. But this is a favourite one of Gary. So he takes something, again, taking something that is true and then using it out of context. So the thing is, if you're 15 meters high in observation point and you move to 1 meter observation point, the surface detail will get less. You'll lose resolution on some of this surface detail along the bottom here, and in this area things will start to blur, and this is a fact.
Right, it is a fact, but he's not willing to go the whole way. This is the only, right here, this is the only thing that's happening. The reason why, well, listen, he says it's blurry. You know, he's describing the aetherband. Why can't critical think see the hull? Refraction. Refraction. The whole time. Why can't critical think see the hull? Remember when we were looking at the boat in the port? He's not seeing the boat touch the horizon. Why? There's an inferior mirage. You can clearly see it. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't really care about how much that refraction eats up the image. Of course you don't. Of course you don't.
Agreed to that. But then people like Gary Wybenga seem to think that that affects the bottom of the ship. You can see that.
True Blue, if you want to have a conversation, and I'll put this in for anybody else as well, if you want to join the panel, here's the link. Okay?
ship there, you can see that it's actually at 90 degrees to the surface. Now,
right, it's at 90 degrees to the surface at every measurable distance, all the way across, level, right? If this person's feet is in the water and this hull is in the water, they are on the same horizon, the same horizontal plane, the same tangent. It's all the same. It's all the same. Only the names will change every day. Feels like wasting away.
that's, I don't know how anything happening on the surface can
Son of a crackin' smurf. Crack. I was just giving away the secrets of life again. Awesome. That was fun. Okay, so that's why it would be better if someone joined, right? Because then I can have a conversation and make sure that... Okay, so B-ball for life. I'm going to try to go back up and see what your question was, okay? What happens when there is minimal to no refraction, Travis, and there's still obstruction, okay? Again, real quick. This is minimal refraction. There's no such thing as no refraction. This is minimal. Okay, but you can see farther. You can't see all the way down to this little degree here. It's too far away, and there's refraction here. It's not going to be clear to you. Now, this house is not here behind a curve. It's up here. Why can't you see this house? Why can't you see the house? Why is there's so much water between the channel marker? This channel marker is a quarter mile away from me. Okay, this channel marker is a quarter mile away from me. That means that there's 9 miles of Chesapeake Bay. Where is it? Where is it? Right here. This isn't the same. What's going on? Okay, this is what's happening in the image where Critical Think has his ship. The water is being refracted up. It's not being physically lifted up. It's being refracted up. You see again? This looks like I'm higher up and farther away from the surface. I'm not. This looks like I'm lower down and closer to the surface. I'm not. So this is less refraction, and you can see farther. Okay? Less refraction, and you can see farther. I'm surprised nobody's joining. Crazy. No one wants to talk to you. You never listen. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, of course I'm going to be the only one giving a narrative if I'm not joining. So why are you here, True Blue? If I don't listen, why are you here? That's just a passive-aggressive comment to make. You never listen. Honey, why don't you talk to me? You never listen. Well, no, I disagree with you. That doesn't mean I'm not listening. You never listen to me. You're not listening. No, I'm listening to you. I just disagree with you. That doesn't mean that I'm not listening. So, whatever, True Blue. I hit a flippin' whale. Oh, no. How's the whale? Joe Mama. How's the whale? Shout out to Joe Mama. Shout out to Denny D. Seek and Find. Rocky Alive. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate everybody being here. Yeah. I'm just going to ignore the trolls because, I mean, I could ban you for life because you're flipping idiots. I don't talk about Polaris, okay? If you want to talk about Polaris, go ahead and talk amongst yourselves or go somewhere else, okay? He had a whale of a time. I'm not talking about him. Oh, that's Samuel Hill. Okay, so I guess we can go back. I mean, I would like to hear from everybody else too, because I mean, it's a part of the discussion. And you know what? That's not even true, True Blue. That's not even true. Again, simply because I disagree with you doesn't mean I'm not listening.
Can possibly affect the visibility of the ship above the surface. And this diagram I've given here shows fairly clearly that you've got clear line of sight to the ship.
Okay, listen. Okay, Critical Think. This diagram I've drawn here shows quite clearly you've got a clear line. This isn't fucking reality, dude. This is a drawing. Where's your atmosphere here? These guys have clear line of sight. They've got clear line of sight. Seriously, man. Are you serious? This is a drawing. Not even a drawing. This is a computer diagram. There's no atmosphere here. This is how easy it is to debunk your position. This is not reality. This isn't real. No, Samuel Hill, if you want to talk Polaris with him, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm saying I'm
So
not.
even if you do lose some...
Even if you do lose some, and he's only like pointing down right here. No, refraction's all the way up here. All the way. And, I mean, it's... I don't think you can quantify it. I think you can only describe it. And, in my opinion, refraction is the best description of what's going on.
The surface, you can still see all of the ship and the bottom is not cut off. But that's not all. Look at these angles. They're so...
Okay, look. Look at these angles, he says. Where's your measurement of this? All you did was type this in. You can't show this. How did you figure that out, Critical Think? How did you figure that out? That .005. Where'd that value come from?
minuscule. 0.074 degrees and 0.005 degrees. Such a time.
I've got somebody at the bell. Somebody's at the door. Hello. iPhone Rakia Life. Okay, so type in the chat if you can hear me. Rakia Life. I'm going to type in the chat. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? See that in the chat? Can you type back? Let me see if I have to do anything for you. I don't think I do. You are unmuted. Okay. You should be. Hello, check, check. Yeah, my mic's working. I can never remember how to do this. Chat, make us remove, hide, none of it. I think it's you. I think you've got to figure out your setting for your mic. Yeah, I know B-Ball for Life. I know what you mean by destroying my footage, right? But he's not destroying my footage. Trust me. Okay. I'm sorry, Rakia Life. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Unmute, mute all, mute participant, allow participants, blah blah blah. Yeah, all that stuff. It should be okay. All right, I'm just gonna keep pushing play here.
Plain truth, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Awesome. So, did you have to adjust something on your side?
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so
okay.
It's sometimes it goes in and out.
All right. Well, hey, good to talk to you. So you are Rakia Life.
Yes, sir.
Great, great. So, what would you like to talk about and bring up?
I just love your work. We do a lot of observations on the water ourselves. Have P900s, the big.
I just lost you.
Yeah, it's going in and out. Hang
Oh,
on,
okay.
put it on mute. I gotta close my watch page.
Okay.
Give me a second. I'll be back in a little bit.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to keep this open to see if I can see.
Tiny change in angle. It's really not going to make.
Okay, right. Okay, he's talking about the tiny change of angle. It's not only about the geometry. Yes, the tiny degree of angle is affected by the increase of the distance and the medium from the observer to the subject. So it's not just geometry. This is what we've been saying from the very beginning. It's not just talking about orthographic view. You have to consider the atmosphere, the aetherband as well. Okay? Again, there's the link if you want to join the panel.
Make that much difference and cause 6 meters of ship to disappear.
Okay, right. See, he's being such a snarky snark. Okay, it is. Listen, this is a demonstration of this of the exact same thing, right? I'm looking. I haven't changed my height or anything, but what has changed in affecting what I can see is the refractive index that's in the air. Okay, this shoreline over here is still right here, but you can't see it. And what did he say? He gave a value of the distance here. Hold on real quick. Let's listen to it again.
a tiny change in angle. It's really not going to make that much difference and cause 6 meters of ship to disappear.
Yes, it is. 6 meters of ship, yep. I don't have a ship right here. I have a shoreline. I have an entire house, plus the shoreline beneath it. 6 meters is what? What's 6 meters? 20 feet? Right? 6, 3, 18-ish, right? So yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Refraction is going to swallow up that degree. Yes, it is. So if I got up higher, not that I can't where I'm at unless I have a drone, but if I got down lower here, I would just simply change the angle at which this refraction is extending towards me, right? It would get closer. The refraction would come closer and probably past the channel marker. But that's just the refraction. I'm not changing the curve. I'm not changing the location of the curve. It's all simply distance and perspective and refraction. Okay. Because I'm talking through this right now, B-ball.
And there's another argument about angular...
Yeah, I hate it when he brings up other arguments. No one's making those arguments right now. So, I suppose that I could pull up Sean G's... I don't know if it'll stream nicely, though. I mean, I should just be showing my own footage, right? Alright, let's see if this works. Oops.
Okay, so stop it to this. So if there is no mirage...
It's like they don't pay attention, okay? Because I've already said this before. If there's no mirage, there's still refraction, okay? This is no different, guys. This horizon line is no different than my explanation right here. Okay? It's no different. The horizon ends right here because of refraction. The horizon is ending right here because of refraction. I didn't say it's because of the mirage. The mirage is... this isn't a very clear image, obviously, because of the refraction, okay? There could be a mirage going on right here. There could be. I don't know. It's just not very clear. But this line right here is closer to us than the platform is, okay? Again, this water looks like I'm close down to it, and that I'm lower down and closer to it. This looks like I'm lower down and closer to it. This is all a result of the aetherband.
On that surface at this distance. What you've got to think about is, well, if that horizon line is, let's say, 4 miles out or 3 miles out, pick one, doesn't matter. And the wave height...
69.
Shut up. And the wave height is like, you know...
Pick one, shut up!
Yeah. No, within the realm...
Travis, I'm back.
Okay.
How's the audio?
It sounds okay for me. Give me a check real quick. Tell me... tell everybody out there what your channel is and where you're from and what you said you have a P900 and like where do you shoot?
Yeah, I'm Rakia Life. Everybody knows me as Dave Rakia from Louisiana. We shoot a lot. Lake Pontchartrain is where I got my start because, you know, as a person who believes in the globe all my life, I saw that video and saw that water bulge, and I was like, that just doesn't seem right. So I went out and shot it myself. And the first time I did, sure enough, there was a definite, what I called back then, blockage, you know, obstruction of water. It appeared to be water.
Yeah.
I couldn't see the other shore. I was like, well, that's it. Basically went home and just started looking into the optical part of it, refraction, just all the angles, everything, everything that might affect it.
Right.
People don't realize that has current that flows through there. Our floodplain, when the Mississippi River rises, they open floodgates and water flows through all that floodplain and comes through Lake Pontchartrain underneath the bridge, underneath the train trestle, through those power lines, and it bulges up because it has a narrow. It comes in a narrow entry and it goes out a narrow exit. So it bulges in the center of the lake. So the level of the lake will rise according to the flow of the water.
Right. Okay. So let me make a suggestion. I don't know if you've heard me discuss this or not, and I'm not trying to say that it's a blanket statement. So that I just think that it's worth considering. Let me pull up my picture again real quick. And I can show this with both here on the Chesapeake. I've got footage of it, and then also with the Channel Islands. So even if you have an inundation of water, okay. So when I was first looking at this stuff, just like you said, when you got to Lake Pontchartrain and made your observations first, you had some conclusions that were your first impressions, right?
Right.
So,
and they fit what I already believed.
Sure. Right. So I too had thoughts in my head that I think I understand what I'm seeing here. This is what I'm seeing. And the more and more I looked and took footage and saw how dynamic the changes were, I had to adjust, not because I wanted to, because I felt like that's where the information was leading me. One of the things that when I talk about this with ballers, they'll say, well, how high was the tide? And what that means is that they think that the physical level of the water is blocking the shoreline here. So I don't think I'm sharing my screen with you because you're in. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, I'm not watching.
Okay, I'm going to share with Zoom. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so here at the bottom left, I can see all the way to the shoreline. Okay?
Right.
Up here to the top right, I can't see the shoreline. So the question is why? All right? When I talk to the ballers about this, their thought is that the water is higher, which means, I mean, if you think about it, I think it's absurd that this is underwater. You know how much water that would have to be to... The tide has no bearing on covering 60 feet of house and shoreline. You're not going to get that. So,
right.
And plus, the tide here in the Chesapeake Bay is like 2 or 3 feet. So if that's going to cover 2 or 3 feet here at 9 miles away, that's an even smaller degree. You still should be able to see the house. But here's the point. I'm sorry, I'm long-winded. Here's the point. I say that the aetherband is three-dimensional and that it is everywhere. These two images at the top are shifted up. Everything shifts up. Even the topography in the back, which is why when I set up in the same place, this tree line, if I lined up, okay, look, you see how these two images right here are side by side? If I made the water horizontal with both panes, the topography in the back wouldn't match. Okay, let me show you another shot that I did earlier. I think it was pretty.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It's
Okay.
not the water level; it's just the optical effects of whatever's going on. I mean,
Right.
even you say we don't have a clue. You can't describe all of it because there's such a dynamic system.
Yeah.
Water temperature, everything. I mean, you can factor in everything. Shoaling, if there's current, tides do affect a little bit. Wave height. but it's all optical.
Yeah, sure.
It can't be
Sure.
a bulge.
Yeah. And by no means am I going to disparage anything that Ranty's done in terms of his investigation of shoaling. But what my point is that even if you have an elevation of water, the aetherband is going to raise up the distant topography.
I agree. And you call it aetherband. I don't discount that. There's something, right? There's some atmospheric conditions combined, and you call it aetherband. I actually call it aetherband, just as a simplistic term.
Sure.
Whatever it is, there's definitely an atmospheric condition or conditions that combine together to cause these effects, but it's only optical. I mean, if there was a bulge of water in between a 15-mile distance, that water would be flowing, from its highest point to its lowest point. It's ridiculous to think that.
Exactly, right. But not in their world, because gravity is the great equalizer, so that it prevents water from doing what we know it should do. If you change the angle of the surface that the water is on, if it's not contained, the water is going to flow.
But it doesn't prevent it. In many cases, you can actually measure the water, and it's not doing what, if it was a sphere, what it should be doing. It should have a bulge all the time, right? The physical bulge doesn't change. And gravity wouldn't change because it's so perfect, holding everything in its orbits, blah, blah, blah. I don't buy into all that because it's sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't when it comes to water level. And it's just optical effects. I mean, I know it, just like I know my hand in front of my face right now, I know that's what's causing it. I've seen it. Went back to Lake Pontchartrain. I've been 15 times since then. And, 2 or 3 times we've had obstruction of whatever, let's just call it aetherband. And then all the other times we could see as clear as day. I mean, the other shore, 20 something miles.
Right.
18 miles from one location and 22 from the other that I shoot from. And we have a whole group that does it around here, families, and it's businessmen, it's attorneys, it's people, boat owners. These are people who know. The unfortunate thing is the stigma about it is it's hard to talk about with your clients and customers because you don't want to, I have a lot to lose, but they have a lot to lose too, and they're not willing to do it as much as I am. And even I keep a low profile. I usually stay in chats only. I don't put out a lot of my testing and content because it sets you up for ridicule. I'm a contractor, so we work under contract, and they can pull those contracts for whatever reason, and they have before. I've lost business because of this, but I've also gained business because of it. There's a lot of people. This is the thing, the message I want to get across. We may never figure out the optical effect. We never figure out all the dynamic systems. We're not supposed to know everything. But what I do know is everybody is waking up and they get it, right? It's not like it was 2 or 3 years ago or even a year ago when I first got into looking at this. People just wouldn't talk about it. They didn't want to hear it. They're waking up now. They're tired of the lies or deception, whatever it is. I don't even really say they're lying anymore because they're actually telling us the truth. We just won't listen. But they're willing to go out and do tests and have fun with it, and they know. I mean, you would be amazed how many people in my area alone know for a fact, right? Like, they don't even question it anymore, and they're not scared to tell other people. They're just careful about the environment, how much they post it, But at parties and gatherings and whatever, it's fun now,
Yeah, I think you find opportunities with conversations that you have that give you insight as to how you can open up that door in different conversations. You know what I mean? If you just kind of lay back because one way that you present the question to this person,
You might not say it that way with this person.
Yeah.
So, but I think though that
you have to be respectful, of other people's beliefs. Also, I'm a professing Christian, so, but I'm also careful with people who are not or in a different stage of their life. I would never bash them for that because we're all on a different, in a different spot.
Exactly.
But,
and if I think of changing our minds in terms of flat Earth, right? So we know the ramifications of making such a monumental change in the way that we think. For me, at least, it's made me understanding and more patient with people who haven't made that decision. I know how difficult it is to make that decision. So I can't be upset or angry at you, if you're not changing your mind. The one thing that will make me upset and angry and frustrated is if it's just argumentation. Which is, again, why the heck do I go into Jose's chat? I don't know. They're not going to listen. They are not listening. So I always tell myself at least, well, I'm doing it because someone who is out there in the audience and who's not participating but who's listening, if he's listening to me, then I'm doing it for him. But can you see what's on the screen?
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, I got the two pictures.
Okay.
That's what I do in chat. I don't like the confrontation as much, but I like showing other people how I handle it and what I believe or think, and maybe they, I might help somebody else just investigate and find out their own truth. I'm not trying to force anybody to believe what I believe. I'm trying to show them that there is a different perspective out there.
Yeah. Okay, so
I see your two pictures.
Yeah. Okay, so again, there are great opportunities here at the Chesapeake where I can frame my shot so that you can see that I'm shooting in the same direction. So you've got both channel marker and the cape over here to the left. And over here in the left pane, you've got a clear inferior mirage that's right above the horizon. Okay, so you've got a house more than likely right here. House is over here, but again, the way that the water is ramping up is not this. This is not on the same plane over here. This horizon is lower than this horizon. Look at how
same viewer height.
Yeah. I post up right next to a no swimming sign. The no swimming sign is concrete driven down into the ground. It's not moving. I put my stuff up every single time in the same place. But you can see.
I knew you did. I just wanted to make sure everybody else knew. When we're looking at this, everybody else knows that it's the same viewer height.
Sure.
Just a different view. And I think the glimmer. You see how you got more wind on the one on the left. So that is creating that ripple effect, and you get like a sheen, what we call it, or a glimmer, and that's going to affect the light coming into your lens or your eye. It's almost like a mirroring effect off of each, what I call a white cap. When it's smooth, you're not going to get that reflection, right? I don't know if that comes out clear or not.
When you say
the only difference here.
When you said when it's smooth, you don't get that reflection. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, you see on the left how it's more windy, so you have more white caps or more ripples on the water. It's not as smooth.
Okay.
That definitely plays an effect of how the light is coming into your lens or into your eyeball.
Okay, sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it's also going to depend on the angle of the light source. So, not to say anything, but when you compare these two pictures, if it's different times of day or different times of the year even, it's tough to get that same comparison because the light source is at a different angle.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to address critical think. He just asked a question. Okay. He says, why does the mirage only appear where the Earth is supposed to be? Okay, he said where the curvature of the Earth is supposed to be. So, I've said this already again. The refraction is curvature. This is the whole switcheroo, right? The great switcheroo. The way that we see geometrically and the way that we see optically has been imposed on the Earth. So we see through curved lenses and we look
across a linear plane. They have reverse engineered that to say that we are looking with planar linear vision, and we're looking over a curved plane. So critical think and everybody else out there, you have to just simply take your model and flatten it out, because everything's the same thing. We see the same thing. It's just that your explanation for what you're seeing is different than mine. And he had a follow-up question. He says, how do you get a close horizon on a flat Earth? It depends on the level of refraction. Okay, so these two images that are right here are giving us, the aetherband is presenting to us two completely different images of the same observation. So we can clearly see the shoreline over here on the right. We can see grass. We can see the house. But over to the left, we have farther, I would say, farther distance, so that at that point right there, that angle, remember, critical think, you were talking about the 0.005 and the 0.074 angle, okay? Again, I am not discounting geometry. I'm saying you can't just do the math. And I'm saying I don't think you can quantify the aetherband. I do not believe you can predict how the aetherband is going to present the image to you. I just don't. But to sum it up real quick, the right panel, we are seeing farther, and I'm describing that as less refraction. And the panel on the left, we are not seeing farther, and it's because of more refraction, and that changes the apparent distance to the horizon. So how often are you able to get out and take photos?
Just depends. Work. I'm on construction business, and we're just extremely busy right now. So the last month or two, the weather's been kind of crappy anyway, but
yeah,
not too much. But we go out on our boat. My daughter's on the boat now. We've done the boats don't go over the curve is what I call it now. We've done it with our boat multiple times, but with other people in the marina, their boats and their equipment, we all have radar. Mine is up to 70 nautical miles. Some bigger, nicer boats have more powerful radar, and that's all it has to do with is frequency. And they're all self-contained systems. So you shoot out your radar beam or whatever you want to call it, it comes back to your receiver. So whatever it hits in your range, if you've got it set on 16 miles or whatever, it's coming back to you. Those things don't work when there's obstruction in the way, line of sight. Mm-hmm. Sonar also is the same way. It's sending down and reflecting off the bottom. They're very sensitive these days. I mean, we have mapping systems of the bottom now that are incredible, and it's all that is obstructions getting in the way and reflecting onto your screen. Well, same thing with the radar. If something gets in the way of that line of sight radar, then it's going to show up on the screen. Well, over 70 miles, how much obstruction should there be? The whole screen should be red. It should be physical obstruction if we live on a sphere the size that's given. There's a lot of different things, though. But doing the boats, sending a boat out on a certain day and you can't see it 8 miles away, and then sending it out another day and you can see it, 18 to 20 miles.
Right.
The physical shape of the Earth didn't change over 10 days or whatever.
Correct. Yep.
Just the only thing that changed was the atmospheric conditions or the optical conditions, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But they know. I mean, people know. They just when people do the test and they see it for themselves, it's over with. Whether they admit it or not, you can tell. You can hear it in their voice. You can hear it in what they say and do. And they're not. Some of them are never going to come out and admit it because they can't. You know, they just, for whatever reason, they don't want to take the ridicule, you know, for whatever reason. Everybody has their own reasons, but a lot of people are. I mean, openly coming out and saying, wow, that's it. You know, and for me, I did a lot of testing with my family and with friends, and was trying to figure everything out. And then finally my wife said, you know, well, what does the Bible say? So, you know, like I said, I am a Bible believer, so I usually would go to that as my source of truth, and I didn't on this. You know, I was too busy and wondering how to figure out this and do this and testing this and watching this video, and lo and behold, I go read the Bible, and there it is. You know, and for many, that's a great wake-up call, right? The people who believe in the Bible, when they see it in there, they don't even have to do a test, right? Because many people who have faith like that, they've never been lied to by that source. They've been lied to or deceived from everybody else except for that source. So when that source, whatever it is, comes to them and says, you know, the earth is flat, they say, okay, the earth is flat. It doesn't change anything for them. It actually makes things better, you know. More truth, more truth, more truth.
Yeah, and just to, I think you probably know my position, and I'm not going to go down this road with you. I don't want to make it a point right now, but just for anybody else in the audience, my position is that the Bible is not talking about the shape of the earth with the language that it does use, and I think that it's a point that can be argued and understood, but I just wanted to say that while I respect, again, because I grew up as a Christian since I was 9.
Yeah, I understand.
You know,
I understand.
so it took me a long time to change my mind about those things. But okay, so let's just look real quick at this image here again. The left image here has more clarity. I mean, we can see a very crisp roof. You can see the two levels of the roof, and then you can see the window there at the front with the A-frame that's coming up there, and over to the right, that's the same house, but you've got an inferior mirage, and that inferior mirage in that red rectangle represents 3D space. Distance, width, and height, and all of that is distorted. It's not. You can't take a picture that was taken 100 yards away, smash it down into here, and then make it a 1-to-1 correspondence like you're doing a blink test. Over here to the left, you can see right here. This here as well is an inferior mirage. And that's right here, but you're not seeing the same thing. You know, even right here, that little rectangle that I just made is smaller than this one. So if we go back to what I had said before about the way that the aetherband changes the entire field of view. It's amazing. Some of these, I mean, even right here, if you're looking at this, look at the topography of the tree line. This looks actually like it has a sharper arc. This one looks a little bit flattened out. And the cape right here is just a completely different shape. So, here's what I was doing before. Again, I'm not lower down and closer to the water here. But look how much less water there is between the horizon and this channel marker. I mean, does it make sense to you? Does it make sense when I say that the left-hand side, the way that I describe it, is this looks like I'm higher up and farther away.
Right.
And then this one over here looks like I've changed my viewing angle.
I think it has to do with angles. So your viewing angle is the same, right? But the angle of the light being sent back to you is deflecting down or up, or at a different degree or a different angle, and it's giving you different information.
I don't have
same position.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem describing that, but don't tell me you know what's going on. You know what
Right,
I mean?
exactly.
Don't
Don't tell me you know, and you can measure it, and you have a formula. There's no way. There's no way. It's too dynamic. It's too many factors that go into it. It changes minute by minute. It doesn't even change hour by hour. It changes minute by minute, right? Because the light source is changing.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. When I was in California, I waited hours and nothing changed. Nothing changed. But here on
I'm saying, it can change.
Yeah,
you know, everything is changing. It might not change the information coming to you, but everything is changing, right? As time goes on, you may be receiving the information the same, and it appears to be the same, but everything is changing. You know, everything that factors into what you're receiving as information into your eyeball or into that camera lens is changing due to all the factors that's going into it.
I mean, look at
and
this.
You can prove that by changing your angle of attack or change your viewer height or your position. Then your information is going to change. Same thing with the information that's being sent.
Look at this shot.
So there's
All right, so this is 280.
As clear as it gets.
This is a 285, but the horizon is lifted up, right? This isn't curvature. This isn't curvature. So, but this is again, it's an optical illusion. So what I've said is, even though there's not an inferior mirage here, there is still an optical distortion that is creating the same result. That is, you cannot see the distant shoreline here because I don't even know how to say it.
Yeah, who knows? I hate to sound. The one thing I do know is because of what we see and observe over time from the same spot, it's not physical. It's only optical.
Right.
And if it is physical, it's due to like the water movement or the temperatures, you know, something that's because you can have water that's being, you know, the different temperatures will cause that haze and mist, and that's going to change the information too. And you know, light and water, you know, mixed with air can never be figured out. I promise you. It's impossible. Yeah, I like that. I do a lot of oil rig stuff.
Yeah.
I had black swans before I knew they were black swans.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is what blew me away, was that I showed this to Nathan Oakley over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has been out. I made this public over a year ago. You know, so whatever. But the phenomenon that I'm trying to point out right now is that this is the exact same thing as this. Okay, this looks like I'm higher. I'm sorry. This looks like I'm lower down and closer to the water. And this looks like the same thing, but I'm not. So and I can show you. You know, the next day, going out the next day, I can see the oil rig in full. So the question becomes, okay, so if it's not an inferior mirage exclusively, and let me close that out real quick because I just saw something I wanted to point out. I've said it on my channel before, is that even if it's not an inferior mirage, it's still something that is due to refraction, and it hasn't been classified, obviously, because if it has been classified, it's not been classified the way that we're talking about it. So it has to be reclassified. It has to be looked at again. But
that's what they're doing now. They're going from 706R to infinite, or they're going to change it, you know, to whatever fits their narrative or model. They have to, because you know what I'm saying, they can't let this defeat the purpose. Like,
okay, so here we go.
Right.
Okay, that's the inferior mirage.
Right.
Okay, and so that's what I'm saying. Right there, in that area, is the rest of the oil rig. Now, we have to realize too that the scale of these cranes, these are distorted.
Mm-hmm.
What you're seeing is a refracted image, and I'm going to say it's magnified. So magnification is happening here as well. So if it's being magnified, and you know the whole Rob Skiba lensing thing, it makes sense that when you put a magnifying glass in, and you move it forward or backward, you're going to lose certain angles of degree of the object that you're looking at. You know, I don't know if you remember this or not, but what just came to my mind was, I think back in the 70s, Jack Nicholson was like on the cover of Life or something like that, and he had a magnifying glass in front of his face, which made his mouth huge. So it was out of proportion, you know, but his face was right there behind it. So it completely distorted the image. But my point is that we do have an inferior mirage right here, and it's above the horizon.
Well, just think of the fun mirrors in the old, you know, when you went to the park. You know, they would bend your whole body, and all that is the light. The way the light is bending with being mirrored or compressed, or you know, there's probably factors we haven't even thought about yet. But just the things that we know are incredible. Can do amazing things, you know, with light, especially over water, right? Especially over water. But I found the crane people don't you know, don't forget about this either. You know, we're in Louisiana, so all is our business, right? Everybody I know either works at a refinery, works on an oil rig, or supplies pumps and whatever, right? That's what Louisiana is. And we fish around them every other weekend. I mean, that's where the bait is. That's where we fish. But there are many factors that go into the heat differences in those oil rigs or even ships that might be refracting or causing some type of effect of information, because like a flare tip can reach temperatures of 2,000 degrees, right? So the gases and the heat that's being generated by generators and those flare tips and things like that can really distort information when you're viewing them long distance, and can differ from day to day or hour to hour, because when they're on shutdown, they're going to be burning a lot of gas off, and so it's going to be a lot of heat generated around that oil rig. So depending on which way the wind is blowing is how much distortion you're going to get from that, right? Also, on other days when they're not on shutdown, only gas, more gas is being released and not as much burn off, like not as much heat is being generated. So, the extra gas in the area, and that's going to also depend on which way the wind is blowing from your viewing angle.
Yeah, and I guess
but a lot of things change.
Yeah, right. And I guess the way that you just described it is it only matters depending on what you're trying to accomplish or do or say. So it might just be a simple observation that you think, oh, that's an interesting perspective, or that's an interesting observation. And you're not going to try to science it, because that's not what you are interested in, or that's not what you're doing in terms of being on an oil rig or being on a boat. But if you are looking at that observation and you are trying to say something more about it, it depends on what you're saying, which then affects what you're responsible to have information about or to investigate. So the one thing that I've tried
to
go ahead.
The horizon beyond, using the oil rigs as a fixed object that doesn't move, that is a certain height off of the water, where you can do your viewer height every time standard, and that oil rig is a certain height off the water, and have the horizon behind it, and how far away the oil rig is from your viewer position. It's that part of the math doesn't lie, right? You can measure it. It's repeatable. It's measurable. It's a no-brainer. If you don't believe Google Earth, you can go, from the shoreline to the boat, in a boat to that oil rig and measure it yourself. You can confirm it with radar. Get next to the oil rig and see how far the land away. We've confirmed it in several different ways, and and know how far these oil rigs are and can see way past it when we shouldn't be able to on certain days. And then some days you can't even see the oil rig.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
not even foggy days, just days where the information is just not getting to you for whatever reason.
Right. Yep.
I.e. aetherband. I mean, whatever you want to call it, it's definitely something that's other than physical obstruction that's causing that information to be deflected or mirrored or compressed or whatever you want to call it. We'll leave that up to the experts. But any grown man, can go out there and use common sense and look at, do his own research. Most of the people that ridicule have never done 1 minute of observation. You can tell because they don't, they would know, right? They would know that.
Yeah, you'd like to think.
It's frustrating to go out on it's frustrating to go out on those days where it's clear and you think the conditions are perfect and you can't see 10 miles. Right? It's amazing. And then other days where you say, oh man, this is a bust. I'm wasting my time. You set up and you go, man, that's amazing. I can, that's so clear. It's 18 miles. I know that's 18 miles.
Right.
And then you start questioning yourself, like I shouldn't be able to see that because of the conditions. Maybe it's closer than I think. You double check. Yeah, 18 miles. I couldn't see it yesterday or the day before, but now I can. And I thought the conditions were better yesterday. That's how I know you can't ever figure it out. You do have heat bands. We go, we take water temperatures as we're going. We're looking for that change in water temperature. That's where we fish, those lines, 5 to 6 degree water differences. And you don't know. You can't tell. It's just all of a sudden it'll change. And we're not talking about over a mile. We're talking about within 10 feet, right? And it'll be a band of cool water meeting warm water. And if you don't think that's not creating an uplift or a downdraft, you see what I'm saying, and causing moisture to go up into the air or be having dry air or moist air drawn to the water, then you're fooling yourself. And all that's going to affect the information, the optics. So if you're trying to view through these downdrafts, what I call them, of water temperature and air temperature differences that can change rapidly due to currents or whatever, again, it's a dynamic system, then you're fooling yourself. But it's definitely optical. You can talk about it all day and try and figure it out. I don't think it's something that anyone can ever figure out totally or measure or whatever, quantify, but it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
So what else? I mean, you're the time you put in is incredible. I respect it because I try and do as much as I can. I know how tough it is and how much effort. So I do respect that a lot. The way you explain things makes sense. You can tell you're doing a great job because they are so triggered.
I know. Yeah. I guess that's the typical way that we comfort ourselves, right? We're getting a reaction, so we must be saying something right. Yeah.
They are refuting every video you do, and that'll tell you right there. When they're having to tell you that what you're seeing, basically a quote from that guy, is a mirage, that is right side up and as clear as day, and everything's in to scale, right? That's when you got them. Like that's it. You can't sell that, right? You can't even. There's no way you could duplicate it.
Yeah.
Incredible. What else is going
on? I'm just trying to plow through. It's never ending. I mean, at least in terms of if I still am only on, I think, day 5 of my 17 days out in California, but I haven't done anything for the past 2 weeks because I've been trying to also put out videos that show some pretty incredible dynamic observations, and so it's just like I can't do it all, So I have plenty to do. It's just that I don't have enough time, and as a truck driver, I drive pretty much 12 to 12. So when I get home, I fall into bed, and when I wake up, I'm just not mentally ready to jump out of bed and hit the ground and jump on and do the video editing. I just want to lie in bed and relax, But I'm sitting there thinking, man, I could be working on editing videos, but I want to lay here in bed. So it's just it's a love-hate.
No, I think you're doing plenty. Don't kid yourself. You have enough video there to, it only takes one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
When you go back to the same place and you see things, and it only takes that one video that it can't be explained on the current model, then the model is not right. And when they're having to go beyond the current scale of refraction, they're killing their own model. And even the current refraction is stretching it, right? Is a stretch to say that light is bending that far and doing whatever it's doing to make that oil rig or those buildings appear in your line of sight perfectly at the horizon. That's the other key. So on a mirage, it's not appearing above. It's always perfect, right? You understand what I'm saying? When they're being lifted up, when they're saying everything's being lifted above the horizon, it's at the horizon, not an inferior mirage. I'm getting a message. Sorry about that. Screwing up I'm on a phone, so I view your info on my computer, and I can really see it. But when you were showing me those pictures earlier, I'm on my phone, so it's a little...
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Go back if you can. What were you just saying about the mirage and the horizon again? Say that again. If you can.
Well, the ones where they're saying the Jason Nowicki shot, especially, they're saying you shouldn't be able to see this as being mirage. But it's perfect, right? It's right where the horizon should be on the model.
Okay.
It just doesn't make any sense. That's not how it works. It's too perfect. You know what I'm saying? It's not possible. That's not how refraction and light would work to create that.
Yeah.
But strange world we live in. Today we're talking to people and just going, man, seriously, just think back, just think about it. When you were a kid and now the earth is flat, like, holy cow, or is it? It could be something else, you don't know. But what you do know is it's not a sphere the size given. When you start trying to measure this thing, it's not possible. So that's a strange thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and you just like you watch a movie again and again and you catch something that you didn't see or you missed the dialogue, this footage could have something in it that is a game changer, and you could miss it. You could blink or look away or do something, and that one thing that's an indication of something that's gonna. Now, for me, again, I'm done. I don't need to do this.
Right.
I do it fundamentally because I actually love getting out there, and I love seeing it just in terms of it being just the beauty and the majesty of it as creation, as nature. I love it.
Correct.
So I don't have to be persuaded. What I've done, and this is what I was going to do. Danny D said that flat Earth is a religion. Okay, so whatever, I didn't follow his thread. Whatever he said about it, I don't know. But in general, someone might say it means that you simply accept what somebody else has said and you believe it on faith. And Danny, I have done nothing even remotely close to that. I have done all of this investigation myself. I have spent this time looking at these things myself. So whether or not you agree with my position, I'm not religious in that sense, if that's what you mean, that I'm just taking everything on blind faith. I have proven this. I have proven this for myself.
I point out, and Danny might think I'm attacking him, but I'm not. I point out that Danny's been here for 4 or 5 years, is what he's told me. I know he's been here for over a year because that's how long I've been seeing him. And how is that possible? Like, that's one thing you can't explain to me. Why someone who doesn't believe in flat Earth and knows for a fact that it's not true in their mind, right? They have their own proof, will come to a flat Earth chat and just be here every day, all day, basically, projecting. You know, but he says you're religious because you believe things that other people have told you, but he knows the sun is physical, right? But he's never been there. He only believes that because other people have told him, or he's read it in a book or whatever.
Right.
Very knowledgeable, you know, very, very knowledgeable about things, has a great outlook and can talk about many subjects. Hey, that's fine. He seems very intelligent, but it's just no different. That is religion, right? That is where you put your faith, is the religious part of it. I've gone through college. I have, you know, I have degrees, and, you know, my wife is educated as a nurse. You know, we've all been through the same schooling, basically, some to higher degrees. My son's getting his master's right now, a very bright, high IQ person that can't get his head around it, right? He doesn't want to face up. He knows the math doesn't work, right? He just can't change his reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't grip it.
So you're
You know,
talking
he knows.
you're talking about flat Earth. He there's something that he is not able to connect the dots with, and it's just a hang up for him. Is that what you mean?
He knows that the math doesn't work for the sphere, right? And it observes flat and measures flat. He just can't let go. Like, you know, it's like that switch. It's you know, and he's only 22, so he was homeschooled in a Christian school. Things weren't pushed on him, you know, as far as, but he loves space. You know, he loves you know, all those movies, and you know, he's a gamer. You know, it's just that typical, you know, mindset, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to let that go, and he struggles with it, you know, because he'll come and ask me questions. He's like, golly, you know, this is getting too strange, you know. I want to take a break. I don't want to talk about it, you know.
All right.
So he knows, you know, and he's done all the tests with us. He knows, you know, and that's why I say, well, it could be something else, because I don't know. I mean, how can I, you know, I have all the
Well,
proof
but see,
that
the
I
whole
need
thing
that
is, right, the whole thing is when you make a claim, what's the basis for your claim, right? So,
right.
like, just take, for example, what you just said. It could be something else. Okay, so what are the two options that we know of? We know that it's either a sphere or an oblate spheroid, or it's flat. Okay. Now, if someone says, well, it could be anything, my question is, no, it can't. It can either be flat or spherical, because if you say it can be anything, what are you basing that on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's almost like the zetetic empirical model. That is, I'm not going to make a claim and say that it's something without, like, what is it that you say? Okay, so if it's not flat and it's not a sphere, what are you looking at that makes you think that it could be a third option? That's my point. I don't have a problem if you say it could be anything. My question would be, what is it? If, you know, like, what's your...
Well, I'll tell you, from my point of view, it's, you know, I don't ever say the Earth is flat, because to me the Earth is land only. But I can tell you water is always flat, you know, unless manipulated.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's science too, you know. But that's what I think and believe, and that's what science backs up also. But I know it's not a sphere, right? So that leaves flat for me. The land rises out of the water, has elevation based on sea level. Everything makes sense. It's simple. You know, it fits current science as far as how water cycles and, you know, the heat, you know, whatever. Everything just fits. It works for me in my mind. Does that mean I'm right? I would never say that, right? I would never say I know everything. I'm not the knower. I'm just using the knowledge that I've gained in my experience and not trusting other people. I went out and did the test myself because, you know, I wanted to know, right? I wanted to know. I didn't want to, you know, just trust someone or just forget about it. It meant something to me. I don't know what that, you know, if I was called to do that or whatever, you know, you lead into that. But there's a reason I went out and spent all that time and money doing it, right? I mean, because, you know, buying cameras and spending time and making trips, and I fly a lot with my brother and we do observations. I mean, we have all the tools to do all the tests that we want, and everything we do tells us that we see way too far. It's flat. And I said earlier that I don't think they lie to us, right? I used to say they were lying, you know, deceiving, and I don't think that anymore. I hear it now. I hear them, everything they say and do, all their paperwork, all their documents, they're mentioning it, right? They're telling us kind of in our face, hey, it's flat. I think Nathan mentions this a little bit, like they have deniability, you know, in the way they write things and the way they say things.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
You know, hey, it's your fault if you know, we're telling you a story and you believed it, you know, that sort of thing. I don't know if that plays into it, but I'm looking out my front window and I have ponds all around me. You can measure any water source that you have. You know, we use lasers, and you know, in my work we have laser levels and things, and we've done it up and down the beach. You know, just primitive things, nothing, you know, nothing scientific where you have all the data that you would need them. But, you know, if it 8 inches over a mile curving away from your feet just doesn't make sense anyway. Because what if the person at the other end of that mile looking back at you is curving down to your feet? Like, right. That doesn't add up. That doesn't make sense. But if you don't think about it, right, if you're just listening to the narrative and you see it on TV every day and you read it in all the textbooks, then you can go along with it. But if you really start to think about it and measure it yourself, it doesn't add up.
Right. It's getting close to dinner for me, and I haven't started anything, Megan. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. But I appreciate you coming in and
yeah, I was able to get on.
I really do. It's good to talk to you. Good to meet you virtually. And
yeah, keep up the good work. I don't get on publicly very often. My family's on the river right now. I had to work today, so I came home and I was by myself. So I thought I'll just hop on. Like I said, a lot of people can't go public, you know, because they have things to lose, you know, and I understand that. I'm that way to a degree. I have to be a little careful, but I've never been like that in my life. I kind of speak my mind, and you know, always I like, you know, follow the masses. You're probably not doing the right thing anyway.
Yeah.
Type of thing. But yeah, good job. Keep up the work. I'll hop on again here and there, and like I said, you've done enough. Just keep plugging it out there. People get it. You know, when I show them your videos, you know, just point out things here and there. This is what we've done. Look at my observation. Look at his. He's going to the same place, same viewer height, same cameras, same, you know, just look at it. I mean, you know, it's not physical. It's only optical. If it was physical, we could measure it. You know, you're telling me in today's day and time you can't measure over 10 miles, right? The whatever you want to call it. You know, if there's a bulge in the middle or, you know, it's measurable.
Yeah.
Know people that built the bridges here in Louisiana, talk to them, and they laugh. A lot of the civil engineers, they get it. You know, we deal with surveyors on some big projects that survey, you know, huge areas for plants and stuff, you know, 40-acre sites, 80-acre, 1,000-acre sites. And they laugh when you know, did you factor in the curve, or, you know, pilots. My brother's a pilot. We he has several friends that are pilots. My nephew's a pilot. We all talk and, like, you know, when did you ever train for the curvature of the Earth or take an account or call it into the tower, you know? You know, you just don't. You know, you don't even, it's not a factor. So, strange. Well, have a good day. Go enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, man. Yeah, enjoy your family. So
yeah, I'm sure they'll be home pretty soon here. We always eat dinner together, and I was supposed to hop on the boat with them. I was on the river on a job, and they were supposed to get me, and that kind of got fouled up with time, and then I got another call. I had to go work a little bit more, so they left me.
yeah, right. Enough of that.
I think we're gonna go tomorrow again. The weather's kind of pretty this weekend. Better
That's
than
good.
a little warm.
Good deal. All right. Well,
All right,
we will.
good work.
Yeah. We'll see you around in the chats and on the channels. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Have a good evening.
All right. Good talking to you. Okay, everybody out there in the Plain Truth land, this has been another exciting adventure of the Plain Truth. This was an extended play version of 3 O'Clock High. 3 O'Clock High is going to be a series that I'm going to try to do where I'll try to offer some critiques of particular channels or videos. And yeah, so I hopefully you know, maybe Critical Think and I can do a follow-up at another time, even maybe later tonight. I don't know if he's around. I'm not sure if he's out there in the chat right now. He was having breakfast with his wife, so I don't think that he had. I guess I can just make a comment on his video and he can see it, and I'll give him my email address, and if he wants to talk later on in his day and later on in my evening, then we'll see if we can do that and do a follow-up. So all right, everybody out there, Mo Sampson, thank you for retracting that message even though I don't know what it said. SE Montreal, shout out to you, my brother. I hope you are well. Isaiah Smith, Regan, or Reagan. Is it Reagan or Regan? Reagan Humphreys, and going up the list, C4 if you're still here. And everybody else, Hannah, you're here. If you were, hello, and all that good stuff. So, all right. I am hungry, and yeah, hungry. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.